with how to wrap up your shows and get the best results at the end. So, Lori, I'm going to let you just get started, and just wherever you need me to fill in or whatever, let me know, okay?
Okay. So welcome, guys, to the last Facebook training for this month. So kudos to you guys for being on here. You made it to the end. That's awesome. We kind of went through like the Facebook parties itself. So tonight we're going to talk about wrapping it up and kind of some tips and things like that you can do. So if you guys, if everybody could mute themselves while I'm going over everything, and then if you have, if you want to comment or do anything, just take yourself off mute. That would be perfect. So with the Facebook parties, we don't want to just, say the sales are what they are, the bookings are what they are, and go ahead and have your host, put in her order if that's the way you do it. I have my host always put in their order. It's just something else I do not have to do, and they can just go in there and kind of play around with it. Now, I do look at it once they submit it. Dawn, if you're not on direct ship, can you still do that? Or once the host places the order, it's pretty much done?
No. Even on direct ship, we have to submit the host order.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so until I submit the host order, the show is still open.
Gotcha. Okay, good. So I didn't know how that worked, but that's good. So I always give my hosts instructions on how to place their order. I shoot them a picture and let them know what they get as well, and tell them just to let me know when they're finished with it. But what I look at is also the sales, keeping track of the sales to see where they're at. If they're just, $15 away from getting, the next goal, the next tier, we should really be working with them. Is there anybody else that needed to order that you know of, and explain to them what more they're going to get when they get to that next tier. It's kind of like us with our sales. If we're close to that $750 mark, we want to make sure we get to that $750 because you're about to get a 2% raise, right? So it's kind of the same way in our parties. We should always be, paying attention to see where the sales are at. Something that I do when I'm wrapping up my parties is to the ones that have already ordered, send them a private message, and maybe if you can send them a recipe, to go with whatever they purchase, that would be great. If not, just let them know that you're wrapping up the party here shortly, and that you understand that sometimes after you place an order, you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot to add this, certain product. And I just wanted to check in with you to see if that was the case. And if it is, there's no additional shipping charges. I can add it right on for you. And it's just a way to checking in with them, just to see. And I've had a few people recently, after I've done that, say, yes, I forgot to get this. And well, they're describing it to me, and I had to send her a picture, of it. But yeah, just check in with them, and see if there's anything else that they needed to get that they just forgot to put on their order. And this typically happens to the ones that place the orders first, but check in with everyone, and that'll kind of boost the sales a little bit as well. And then check in with your host. Is there anybody else that she thinks that needed anything? You can also post on the party and say, hey, my host is like $12 away from her next level. Does anybody need anything? Would you like to add anything? Or if somebody buys 2 spices, for $6 each, that'll do it. So definitely pay attention to the sales, see if you can get your host to that next level, and things like that. So that's one of the tips I do, is send the guests a message about if they needed anything else. Let's see, what else did I do?
Lori, something I just did with my virtual party, and I found it to be very successful, is I let them know that our host was very close to being an elite host. Now, they didn't know what that meant, but I said she is only $68 from being an elite host. Who can help her get to this elite host level? Now, elite host in my book was $1,000 show, and she did it. She got over $1,000 because I kept inching them forward and saying, she's this close, she's this close, who can help out? And people that had not ordered, that were dragging their feet, they came through at the end. So just like Lori said, just because the party supposedly ended today does not mean you're done. You can keep working with those guests and with that host to get to the next level. But use some fun titles. They don't know what that means. It might be a $500 show, and come up with some fun title for that, because it's a challenge, and we all love a challenge.
Yeah, I like that. That's pretty cool. And like she said, they don't know what it means, but you can make up your own little challenge or title, whatever to do. But the more fun you make the party, the more people are going to be interacting as well. So I just think that's a good idea. I like that. Something that I do, and I didn't come up with this, I got it from off the virtual party thing, is it's 20 balloons, and every time an order is placed, a balloon is popped, or anytime a show is booked, a balloon is popped. And typically, if you have 20 of those popped, you're going to have a very successful party. And what we're shooting for is an elite party, as Dawn would say, $1,000 party. And as people order, what I do is put up whatever they ordered to share with everybody. Because that'll get other people thinking too. So when you're thanking people for what they ordered, choose a product that they ordered, if they ordered something, more than one thing, and put it up there and say, thanks, Dixie, for placing your order. You're going to love your new ceramic egg cooker. And then the picture beside it, put the balloons. And Dixie also popped balloon number 10, and just keeps them, I just keep it going and going and going. So I did have one, was very close last week. She got 18 popped. So we didn't get to the 20, but she got to the 18. So that was pretty cool. Can't hear you.
What happens when you get to 20?
So when you get to 20, they get a new spring product.
Oh.
The host.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be a waffle maker, but it'll be something. And I don't tell them what it is neither. It's just whatever I want to choose at that time. But that's just something fun I do at my parties, and I think it's successful. It's something fun and upbeat, and something I can continue to keep doing on the parties. Let's see, what else do I do to wrap up the parties? So once the party closes, I text all of my guests as well, taking them off the Facebook party, and I bring it more to, my phone, and I just text them a blanket type text thanking them for their order on, Dixie's party. You're going to love your new ceramic egg cooker. Please feel free to keep my number as Pampered Chef Lady Lori. And that way they will have my information on Facebook, but also off of Facebook too. And it gets that relationship started, And then if they didn't book a party, or if I didn't ask them yet, or just nothing's been there, said or anything, then I'll, put in there too. I would love to get you and your friends together to, grab some host rewards too. And plus, Dixie's going to get a 50% off at your party too when you host your own party. So I look forward to hearing from you. And some will just say thanks, or some will say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you messaged me. That's awesome, But I have gotten some parties off of it too. So kind of just, talks about the parties, and we should always be asking every single person on the party at some point or another. So texting a thank you message off of Facebook is very helpful too for me. And then bookings, too. Look at your bookings and see where they're at. What is our rule of thumb when it comes to bookings?
2 per show.
Yes, 2 per show. We should always be getting 2 per show. One replaces that party, and then 1 grows your business.
Do you typically get 2 bookings per show on your Facebook shows?
Mine kind of go back and forth. I might have 2 parties and I don't get anything, and then I'll have 1 party and I get like 4. So it just depends. I do try to get 2.
Can you share your best booking tip? I will say that is probably my biggest struggle with virtual parties. Sales, I do really well with, but I do not do well with future bookings.
I know. I wish I had your sales. If we put your sales together.
If we put ourselves together, we'd be unstoppable.
We would be, we would be awesome.
There you go.
I don't think our husbands would like that, though.
I don't think so.
So my greatest booking tip. So something I do, I got it from Pampered Chef Marketing Imagery. It says potential hosts. It's a little blurb that they already have out. So I send that to my host about an hour before the 1 hour party. And it gets my host thinking, because it asks for 3 people that you think would like to be a potential host. And then it tells them what they're going to get when they book a party. So I send that to her about an hour before the party. And that gets her thinking. And sometimes I'll get 3 names. Sometimes they just won't answer me at all, which is fine. And then I'll tell them if they do answer me back and tell me, 3 or 4 names or whatever, then I'll say, okay, in post number 9, what I'll do is have you tag them on my bookings post. And on my bookings post for my party, I put up a calendar. It says, it's an old picture, and Dawn probably knows this too. It says, pick a date, pick a prize. I went out, I did not do that one for about a few months last year. And when I didn't do that, I didn't get as many bookings. I don't know why. But I put it right back in my party.
So do you feel like that's more important on virtual parties? Because I find I don't need to do that at my cooking shows. But I just wonder if that's more important at virtual parties to have some type of incentive. Yeah,
I think you have to. Because it's not, Facebook is not as personal. I'm kind of like you. I don't have a lot of cooking shows. But the last one I had, I got 3 bookings off of it. And I had my little bags sitting out there, but I never mentioned them, and neither did they before they committed on doing a party. So I think cooking shows are a little bit easier when it comes to getting bookings because they have that personal connection with you. But I think Facebook's a little bit more difficult, so we do have to put out an incentive of some sort. And I also do give them 4 dates to choose from. I feel like them just saying, here's my 4 dates to choose from, and having them pick a date, and there you got it. You won't have to worry about, I'll get up with you, tomorrow or whatever to get a date. No, go ahead, and just like if they were sitting in front of you at a cooking show checking out, you want to get them right on your calendar, because they're excited and they want to book a party. So go ahead and get a date. So I look at my dates before I do my party that night, and I write them down. So I give them 4 to choose from. But yeah, work on those bookings. So that would probably be my best booking tool is get your host involved, number one, and then two, putting up that incentives post, you know. And again, guys, I'm not giving away a rock crock here, you know. I'm just simple little things, the toaster tongs, and nobody even asks what they want, you know. I have never had anybody say, "What did I win for booking a party?"
It's not about the prize. It's just about that thrill of the kind of like Honor Ross says about the scratch off tickets. You know, it's just that fun of, oh gosh, what am I going to get?
Yeah.
Not what it is. It's just that thrill of what is it?
Yeah. Instead of just saying or thinking they're going to book a party, yes, they're going to get rewards. Our awards are amazing, but being on Facebook, you got to make it a little bit more fun. You got to be a little bit more creative, and things like that. So, and another thing too, what's that?
Can we see if anybody else has any good booking ideas to share? Because I think that, you know, it's like we talked about, it's so important that you're getting future bookings or that business will die.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Jenna, I know you, but anybody?
Bianca does.
Bianca, yeah, that's right. Bianca popped on.
Yeah, so I think it's also the timing of when you're posting virtually. So you want to plant the seed, but I think once you show all the exciting products and it builds that excitement and the desire, then towards the middle to the end is when you're posting the incentive and the host rewards, and that really gets people excited because their wish list is always bigger than their budget.
Mm-hmm.
So once they see that, oh wow, I do want all these things, and I could get it at 60% off, that's when they jump on board and want to book a party. So it's about the timing, but not being too bushy, not being too aggressive, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that word. Assertive, but not aggressive.
Right. Yeah. And that's kind of what I do in my cooking shows is I wait. My bookings is the last thing that I talk about. Because I'm kind of like Bianca, I want to build their wish list over the party time itself. And then at the end, that's when I'm going to talk about bookings and what can you get. And I show them the little slide that I have, you know. So I totally agree with that. You want to build their wish list, see what they want. You know, if you see somebody that is wanting that deep covered baker, I had somebody written down here from the party I did 2 weeks ago. She said, I want that deep covered baker in my kitchen. She didn't purchase it though. So I don't know if I don't have her checked off yet. So I don't know if I followed up with her or not, but I do have her on my list to follow up with and say, hey, Cynthia, I noticed that you love that deep covered baker and you want to get it in your kitchen. Tell me what you love about it. You know, start off with that, like we talked about. And then, you know, did you know that you could get that for X amount of dollars when you host a party, which would be 50% off? So pay attention to what people say they want and then what they get. And you guys know, this is my sheet for every Facebook party. So I keep notes on it. I write down things. And this does not go in the trash until I have went through it all. I'm a paper person. I'm not the electronic person. I like to see everything. So I print off one of these for every party and I just take notes. You know, if I see somebody on there that is just talking about a certain product or whatever, I'll write their name down with that product and then see if they got it, you know. So just really pay attention to what people want, what they're raving about, and things like that.
Another thing I'll share, and I saw this somewhere, and I started doing this because I've been doing more of the 5-day parties, wish list Wednesday. So you have a post that you put up on Wednesday and say it's wish list Wednesday, what's on your wish list? That way you get to see what they're eyeballing. About midway through the party, kind of like Bianca and Lori were both saying, not at the very beginning of the party, but once they've built up that excitement and they're really wanting that product, so that cues you to follow up with them and say, like Lori was saying, when you host a show, you could get that for this amount of money. And they say to give the price, not say 50% off, but say what the price would be.
Yeah.
So, you can get this stainless steel wok for just $120 when you host a show.
Because they might not know. They don't. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't know all the prices right off the top of my head. Right. Someone asked me how much a garlic press was a little bit ago, and I had to get my my catalog out and flip it over. It's just one of those things. So, yeah, definitely give them a price. Tell them exactly how much it's going to be. So that is good. Let's see, what else? Closing.
What about the opportunity? Share, because you do such a good job with recruiting.
Well, I do, but I haven't been doing what I used to do, which I need to, I guess, start doing it again. But I made a video for anybody that was interested. I just made a video about joining the Pampered Chef, just saying, if you ever thought about it, it's a great time to start, yada, yada, yada. And then I posted it in every party. I haven't done that in a while, but I do have a post that I've been using that I made up myself, believe it or not. Glad y'all are sitting down. But I made a post that says, ask me anything about my business. And then I said, I will help you. And then I have like different questions on there. Have you traveled before? How much do you make? Do you, only do virtual parties? I just have several questions. Because sometimes, like with my cooking shows, I do the same thing. I set a timer for 3 minutes, and then I give them a ticket for every question they ask me about my business. So this is kind of the same thing. But if you give them questions to kind of ask, I've been seeing a lot more people jumping on board and asking me questions lately since I changed that over. I think I did have, my last one was, I showed my paycheck, and then I showed the special, whatever it was for that month, signing up. And I didn't have a lot of people respond to that. But with this one asking me questions, and I already give them kind of a few hints to ask me, it just gets their wheels turning a little bit. So if anybody that starts asking me questions on there, I write them down and follow up with them. You asked some great questions, on the party. Did you have any other questions? Have you ever thought about joining the business or trying it out? That's what I do for recruiting.
And I will have to say, if y'all are not familiar with what Lori keeps holding up and showing you, she does such a super job with writing down everything. I am not good at that. I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants. But I think that is so awesome because she has everything right there in black and white. She doesn't forget to send out a prize. She doesn't forget to follow up with somebody. She doesn't forget when somebody made a comment that she needs to go back and respond to. So whatever your way of record keeping is, record keeping I think is super important because it does give you that accountability to follow up with people and to carry through with what you've promised and what you said you were going to do. Mm-hmm. And I think that's super important that people see that integrity in you, that you're not just there selling them a whole bunch of products, but you truly are there to be their consultant, to teach them, to give them tips and ideas, and to be there for them after they get their products, to share recipes and ideas and troubleshoot. And I think your record keeping is allowing you to do that on a regular basis.
Yeah, I have to have something, guys. I got too much going on that I will totally forget. So I have to. I try to get in here by myself most times, but I have a 3-year-old grandbaby that I keep, and I have a 6-year-old that's very active. So it's typically one of them's in here at some point. So I have to write things down. If I don't, it's not going to get done. So yeah, keep your, kind of like we talked about, we've always talked about this 25, if you're on our calls on Tuesdays, making 25 two-way contacts a week. Track them. Don't let them go, because Susie Q might want you to call her back in 2 months. And if you don't track it and write it down, 2 months from now, you're missing out on a party possibly, So the fortune is in the follow-up. Let's see, what else? I do.
So do you make notes when you're like at a cooking show, or do you wait till you get home and, kind of jot down?
This is I'm pretty much 100% virtual.
Okay.
Yeah. But when I do my cooking shows, I do use the white drawing slips,
right.
To put info on. So if they book a party or if they ask for a specific recipe or whatever, I will jot notes on the back of that for sure. Yeah. See, I'm a note taker.
But that's good. I was not thinking about from virtual, and I need to do that, because you're right. There's a lot of people that like or whatever that I think could be good takeaways. So that's one of my hangups, is the follow through.
Yeah, we got to follow through,
And I think just like it's harder for us to connect with people, I think it is harder for us. We have to work a little bit harder with a virtual show at being intentional about what we're doing.
Yeah.
Or for me anyway.
Yeah.
I find that doing a cooking show is secondhand. I can do that. I know how to do that. I know how to follow up and keep up. So I have to work a little bit harder at a virtual show. So we just have to make sure that we're really being intentional about what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. And just talking about that in general, you have your virtual parties and then you have your cooking shows. Each of them take about the same amount of time, but a cooking show, you can set up everything really quickly, on Consultant's Corner. You go to the cooking show, you do your host coaching with her. The Facebook party, your time is a little bit spread out. It may take 2 hours for the party itself, but you're doing 5 minutes here, 20 minutes here, 2 minutes here, so it's a little bit more spread out, but we are still doing about the same amount of time. It just depends on your lifestyle and what you like, what works for you, because what works for you may not work for me, and vice versa. So I like the virtual parties. I love doing cooking shows too. But for me, the virtual parties work for me. I can check in different times of the day, and do whatever. But the one thing I do after I close out my party, after everything's done, host has her order in and everything, then I will go onto her page on the party and say that the party has closed. Thank you everybody for placing an order on Penny's party. She had such a great party. She earned X amount of dollars in free, 2 half-price items, and then I just thank them. I appreciate their business. And anybody that booked a party, I'll mention their names. And she's going to get a 50% off at your party, plus 10% off for the next year. So just kind of tell them everything that she's getting so they can see that again. And then once I get that email confirmation that things have been shipped, I will go into Consultant's Corner and go through each order, go back to that post and say, Dawn, your order should arrive on Saturday. Dixie, your order should arrive on Friday. And they like that, they like that I'm taking that extra step, because I don't know about you guys, I hardly ever have And I order a lot from direct sales girls. No one ever says, "Hey, your order should be there on this day." You know? Do they ever follow up with me and say, "How's my products?" Nope.
And what I just did with this last virtual show, I sent everybody either a text or a Facebook message and just said, thank you so much for participating in Sandy's show. I enjoyed getting to know you and getting a sneak peek into your kitchen. Your products should be arriving shortly. Hope you enjoy them, and gave them my cell phone number and said, call me, text me anytime that you may need anything. So again, just that reaching out personally away from Facebook. And I've heard you say that many, many times, Lori, so I'm trying to do a better job of that.
I'm
Just
so proud of you.
get off of Facebook and be a little more personal with them.
Because we are with our cooking shows, right?
That's right. That's right.
You know, we call them the next day or 2 days and thank them for calling. I mean, thank them for coming and whatever. So why wouldn't we want to do that? You know, but it's just a different connection. It's off Facebook. Your phone just makes it more personal, I think. So great.
We have got about 5 minutes left. So do we want to open it up for questions the last 5 minutes?
Sure.
Okay. Was there anything else that you felt like you needed to share?
No. And then I always, really quick, I always send my host these little thank you cards that Pampered Chef has. I always send my host one of these and just reiterate what they get for the next year and 50% off. But they also say in there too that typically my host will party with me every 6 months. So I'll follow up with you in 6 months to see if you're wanting to party again. So that way when I do follow up with them, they kind of already have it in their head.
And do you put that on your calendar as a reminder?
Yes. Yeah. I go to that. No, I'm lying. I don't do that. I'm lying. Now I do that for each month. I go back 6 months and I go back a year. But I'll do that in Consultant's Corner, and I'll write down the host name for the past that was 6 months ago, and the host name for a year ago for that month.
Okay.
And then, yes, I'll follow up.
Smart. I like that. All right, guys. Lots of great information tonight. Who has a burning question? Something you need to know about how to wrap up your virtual shows for maximum results.
You need to go upstairs and go to bed.
Anybody have questions? Bianca?
Yes. So how do you do boundaries? So sometimes hosts want to extend the party. How do you put the boundary in a nice way?
I like to tell them that I kind of base it on when the orders started. If somebody placed an order 5 days ago and they want to extend it another 3 days, just let them know that customer may be wanting to know where their products are. If you keep extending that date out, you know, it's not fair to the ones that have already ordered that's waiting on their products, basically. And if she's going to be getting more orders, hey, she gets 200, she can do another party.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to say. Open up another party. Say, you know, we need to get this one closed out because you want your friends to get their products in a timely manner.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to say.
That's a good way.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, you know, I think when they see that your goal is good customer service, they are going to go along with whatever you say. You know, so not being bossy, but just saying, gosh, I don't want Susie to be waiting for her grill pan. I know she can't wait to use that in her kitchen.
No.
Good question.
So how do you get your host to put their order in so you can close out the show and they don't lose everything?
Kelly, you can either give them the host dashboard information where they actually go put their order in themselves, or you can have them go over their order with you and you put that order in. And I
No,
know
I mean, how do you convince them to get their order in so you can close the show if they're hemming and hawing over what they want to do, what they want to order? How do you convince them that they need to get their order in and close the show?
I ask them if they're ready to close out the party. And if they say yes, then I'll say, okay, go log on. Here's the information. Let me know when you're finished. And they
And I
typically go right to it.
if I have somebody, and I'm in a whole different ball game because I have direct ship now, but if I had a host that was dragging her feet, a lot of times I would give them a deadline, and I'd say, I have got to submit this party by Thursday at 9 o'clock. So if I don't hear back from you, I'll just go ahead and